Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm down in the man cave, down in the basement, and about a half an hour ago, I heard sounded like a stampede going on upstairs. What could that possibly be? Well, I go upstairs, and I have three cats. Okay, three cats, and they are chasing a moth. There is a moth upstairs, and this moth is flying right past the cats and teasing them. And the cats are sitting there trying to get the moth. So far, without any luck. But I can hear them going back and forth. In any case, they should sleep well here during the day tomorrow. Um, I could tell you stories about the cats and something similar to that. They used to chase mice down in the basement. They wouldn't eat them, they would just chase them. And we would hear the commotion and run downstairs and see what was going on. I also saw Nimbus the cat eat a ladybug once. Just it was up on the window. I just kind of knocked it down, and that was the end of the ladybug. So I don't know about that. But anyhow, we got a lot to talk about, including the chance for some interesting heavy weather here during the day on Sunday. I want to start out with a look at high temperatures here during the day on Friday, and oftentimes during the month of March. March is generally the most volatile month of weather that we have. We go up and down, and there's a lot of variation over small distances. Take a look at the high temperatures here during the day on Friday. If you were down in Chicago, the sun came out in the afternoon, and it got to 80 degrees at Midway Airport. Kalamazoo reached 75. Comstock Park, where I am here, was 71. Wind picked up a little bit here. Now look at the difference in temperatures over a short distance here. Comstock Park at 71, Big Rapids at 63, and Mount Pleasant was just 52. So about a 20-degree difference between Comstock Park and Mount Pleasant. And look at Mackinac Island. It barely got above freezing there. Most of the day it was like 31 or 32. They were getting rain and freezing rain and snow all together. So a vastly different day from one end of Michigan to the other. But 80 in Chicago and 33 on Mackinac Island. Well, let's take a look at some snow across the area. This is what we expect over the next 72 hours. And you can see there's more snow out west. Some of those western areas picked up 5 feet of snow in just a week. And I mean, we mentioned that the last check we had with the Mount Baker ski area there, they were over 550 inches for the winter and had a base of up to 200 inches. Oftentimes, resorts up there can ski as long as they want until the staff has to leave for summer jobs or whatever. But they are certainly buried in snow out there. A lot of snow in the Rockies around Yellowstone. You can see a band of snow coming out of the Plain States, and up in upper Michigan, we're going to be seeing some snow. Here's a look at what it's going to look like. If you take a look at the scale, any place that's in that brighter yellow is expecting about 6 inches of new snow. There's a little sliver of orange there over by Lake Superior, and that's an area that should see 8 inches of new snow. On the southern edge of this area, they're going to get freezing rain and snow combined. So it's really going to be a nasty couple of days up there this weekend up in upper Michigan. But we won't be seeing the snow down here. A dusting, a possibility here Sunday night into Monday up by Traverse City, and that's about it. Here's all the warnings that are in effect for the UP. That's a scary looking map, isn't it? That reddish purple color is what color would that be? You got kind of two shades. There's one color there that's kind of blue and purple, and one that's kind of red and purple. There's an old joke that there was a boat full of red paint and a boat full of purple paint, and they collided, and the crew was marooned. Okay, some of you will get that. But ice storm warning in that brighter purple color across much of upper Michigan. And this is more than just a little bit of freezing rain. They're going to see perhaps some power outages, tree limbs coming down from the weight of the ice there. Winter storm warning in effect for the Keweenaw Peninsula, where they expect 6 inches of snow plus some freezing rain. There's gale warnings. There's small craft advisories in effect. Just a nasty weekend going on up there in upper Michigan. But that won't be the case down where we are here. Well, we're going to take a little time out right now in just a little bit. First of all, I want to show you the area that's getting the freezing rain stretches from northern Wisconsin across northern lower Michigan. If you're heading up by the Mack Bridge up there, they're going to see some travel issues. If it gets really bad, they'll close the bridge. I mean, if all of a sudden there's large chunks of ice coming down off the bridge, they'll just close the bridge down, and you'll be stuck there until things improve. But that band of freezing rain goes across Canada into upstate New York and into Vermont, New Hampshire, and the state of Maine. So some nasty weather off to our north and northeast here this weekend. So now let's take a moment out and thank our sponsors. Here's Michelle.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
And we thank our sponsors. Here's a look at headlines for you. Scattered showers possibility, but certainly won't be raining all the time. There'll be plenty of times when it will not be raining and you can head outside okay. Could be a random thunderstorm today. A better chance of a random thunderstorm will come Sunday, especially in areas southeast of Grand Rapids. A relatively warm weekend ahead for the southern part of lower Michigan. It'll be chilly in the northern part of the state. And the cold weather moves back here into the Grand Rapids area in West Michigan during the day on Monday. So let's take a look at the forecast here ahead for today. I think from Grand Rapids south and southeast, we reach 70 degrees, but it may be only in the 50s up by, some of the lakeshore areas, especially north of Muskegon, will hold in the 50s near the lake. And also, once you get up toward Cadillac, it may be, in the low 50s here much of the day. 80% chance of a shower, but again, it won't be raining all the time. Humidity levels drop to about 65% for this afternoon. Winds will be a little brisk, but not as windy as they were here overnight. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. And once again, we had some gusts up around 40 miles an hour Friday night. So it was, we certainly had the wind here. Average wind speed at 12 miles an hour for this month of March, and that's on the high side. Taking a look right now at high temperatures. I know those numbers are a little bit on the small side, but if you get up close to the computer, you can read those. We're expecting readings in the upper 60s to mid 70s across southern lower Michigan, where that yellow color is. And then you can see how the colors get colder as you move off to the north. By the time you get to Houghton Lake, temperatures much of the day may only be in the 40s. And look it up in the UP. While it's, in the low to mid 70s down at Sturgis and Three Rivers, it's going to be in the low to mid 30s up across the UP where there's that possibility of freezing rain. We move to Sunday and pretty much the same story. Grand Rapids south and east, it'll be warm, where there will be that chance for thunderstorms. And up in the UP, it will be cold, and they will still be seeing periods of freezing rain and snow. So roads up there may be occasionally quite slippery. And we move ahead to Monday, and finally that blue color comes down over West Michigan, and we will be seeing the cold air here. Much of the afternoon will only be running about 38 to 40, and with a pretty stiff northwest wind, it's going to feel like we're back in February here. Monday, not the best of days to be outdoors. So let's take a look right now at the severe weather outlook areas. This is really important. We have a major severe outbreak here coming on Sunday. The orange color is an enhanced outlook, and that is a level 3. It goes marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and then high. We only see a high risk maybe 3 or 4 days a year. And this is a level 3, and it's a very large area for an enhanced region. It runs from just south of the Michigan-Indiana border all the way on down into northeast Texas. The yellow color is a slight risk, and that covers much of West Michigan with a slight chance of severe weather, and that would include all parameters. That would include large hail, strong, possibly even isolated damaging winds, and the possibility for several tornadoes. The marginal outlook goes all the way up toward Traverse City. So it's something to keep an eye on. That is, again, for Sunday, mainly during the afternoon and very early evening. And as we head on towards evening, the severe threat should move off toward the southeast toward Ohio. And then next Wednesday, we may be doing the same thing. Look at this, our Wednesday outlook. And they don't issue all the 5. They just outline areas, 2 areas where there might be severe weather. We have a slight, this is equivalent to what the slight risk would be, and that runs again from about, what would you call that, Saugatuck or South Haven across to just north of Detroit, south all the way back to northeast Texas, for the possibility of another round of severe weather, and that would include tornadoes. So Sunday and Wednesday are the days we'll be tracking thunderstorms across the area here. So let's take a look right now at our 5-day forecasts. Some showers for today. Could be an isolated thunderstorm. 60% chance of rain, so better than 50-50. We're up to 70, but again, the northern counties will be a little cooler than that and near the lake. We may touch 70 briefly here on Sunday with a thunderstorm before a cold front arrives. And boy, does that send the temperatures crashing. We could be 30 degrees colder Monday afternoon than Sunday afternoons. That makes a difference. And not impossible that the rain may change over to some wet snow, and that would particularly be the case north of Kent County. I think roads would just be wet here. But again, this weekend, traveling north of Gaylord, Grayling, Houghton Lake, you may be seeing some slippery, icy roads there. If you're looking for a good day to be outdoors, pick Tuesday, 45 degrees on the cool side for this time of year, but we should be seeing some sunshine. And then on Wednesday, return chance of showers and thunderstorms along with warmer air that should push the thermometer back up to around 60 degrees. Now, we have the long-range outlook for you. First of all, the temperature outlook calls for near-normal temperatures here. If you've been watching us each day, we've been highlighting warm weather in the eastern U.S. That moves off to the east, still warm in Florida, but much of the rest of the eastern U.S. should be cooling off a little bit as we get into the second week of April. First week of April could be a little bit warmer than average in the southeast. It's been cool in the west, some of that cool air coming out into the plain states here. And that again for the second week of April. Some of the kids are off of school that week. Shouldn't be too bad a week here. Average high temperatures are in the mid to even upper 50s, so that's not bad. But again, if you really want warm weather, I would head to Florida during that second week in April. And in terms of rainfall, we're near average here. As the colder air sinks to the south, that's where the fight will be between the warm air and the cold air. And that's where you'll find the majority of showers and thunderstorms across the mid and lower Mississippi valleys and throughout the south. Well, Michelle's got some interesting information to pass along to everybody here, and she is working tonight. But we want to congratulate GVSU national champions, the women, Division II, and that was a decisive victory over Cal State, Dominican Hills, first title for them in nearly 20 years. So we certainly want to congratulate the GVSU Lady Lakers on their national championship. Michigan State fared well. They had a victory in the men's basketball Sweet 16. They go on to the Elite Eight. They beat Ole Miss 70-73, so it was a pretty close game, and they'll have their work cut out for them. The Michigan State up next, the Elite Eight, and I believe I believe they might play on Sunday. Let's see if Michelle added this for the second slide here. Yeah, Michelle will play Auburn. Auburn was a 1 seed. Michigan was Michigan was number 5. And so Auburn moves on to the Elite Eight, as does Michigan State. So we're hoping for Tom Izzo and the gang to move on and continue some thrilling basketball in the Elite Eight and Final Four. The Grand Rapids Gold, if you're interested in basketball, plays the Indiana Mad Ants. I don't know if you can get excited about having a Mad Ant for a mascot or not. But they will be playing later today at the Van Andel Arena. They play a good band of basketball, and check them out. I've been to a couple of Gold games myself here. We'll move on and talk about trivia time here. How many answers will you know? And how many answers will I know? Let's take a look. Our first trivia time is Purdue University, taking its name from, and you have to guess one of these three. There's a French verb and a Spanish verb, perdu, meaning to lose. I don't know if that would be the name I'd want for my university. A British family name taken from Pardieu, meaning loyal to God, and the combination of pursuit and duty. Well, those are three interesting choices that we have. I don't know for sure, but I would guess number 2. And we'll move on to the next slide and see how we did here. Number 2, lucky guess on my part, a British family name. John Purdue was a local businessman who gave the largest amount of money to start the university in 1869. If you give a lot of money, sometimes you get something named after you. By the way, Purdue is a great school. It really is. I've had friends of mine that have gone there. They have a great meteorology program there, a great engineering school. For over 10 years, Mitch Daniels, who was a former governor of Indiana, has been the president of Purdue. And he's been a good president. A lot of the kids like him because he's really worked to keep tuition down for not only in-state but out-of-state students as well. But Purdue's a great university, and we salute the Boilermakers. All right, another quiz for you here. On March 29, 1945, this actor was promoted to colonel in the U.S. Army Air Forces. Now, let me stop for just a minute. There are many, many actors who joined the armed services during the early to mid 40s. So there's a lot of people that might fit into this category here. Okay, I'll continue. But in the 1946 film, it was his character's little brother Harry that was a pilot in the U.S. Navy. Well, the movie they are referring to, I bet, is It's a Wonderful Life, which everybody sees around Christmas time. That's an interesting movie. The copyright was not renewed on that, so it became free game for anybody. I mean, we could have showed it here on Bill's blog for a while, and then eventually somebody found a way to copyright the music. But all of a sudden, It's a Wonderful Life became a Christmas tradition, and I know Channel 8 runs it, I think once or twice during the Christmas season. The people who made that movie were absolutely incredible. They had picnics after the movie, reunions. The movie didn't win very many Oscars. They were kind of disappointed at that, but it was a financial success and certainly has been over the years. I'm guessing that because I know this person was a bigwig in the Army Air Corps, it was Jimmy Stewart. And it was the Army Air Corps still in 1945 because my father was in the Army Air Corps and flew around in B-24s and B-25s. The B-24 was the Mitchell bomber, which was made in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Okay, James Stewart, right on that one. He flew more than 20 combat missions over Germany. After active duty, he remained in the United States Air Force. He retired from the military in 1968 as a brigadier general. How's that? And I believe he had a son that was killed in the Vietnam War as a pilot, if I'm not mistaken. But you can look that one up. But James Stewart, an amazing guy. He won an Oscar for Best Actor, and his father owned a little hardware store in Indiana, Pennsylvania. So his father wrote to him and said, hey, why don't you send that statue here back to Indiana, Pennsylvania, and I'll put it in the front window of the hardware store. And that's exactly what he did. He sent the Oscar back, and his father put it in the window of the hardware store. Nobody broke the window and tried to steal it or anything like that, but everybody got to see what the Oscar looked like. So interesting. On March 29, 1867, the United States Congress approved the construction of this national monument. It cost almost $3 million to build. That was a lot of money in 1867, or 600,000 $5 bills. And that last couple of words there is a big clue, I bet. Whose picture is on the $5 bill? That would be Abraham Lincoln. So let's move on and take a look and see if we guessed right. Yes, the Lincoln Memorial. I've been there several times. It almost looked like Lincoln was sitting in one of those gigantic chairs. You know, they have these gigantic chairs at some of the home and garden stores. And I think there's one of these that's up at the Silver Lake sand dunes or something that you can crawl up on. But it almost looks like that chair is just a little bit too big for. I mean, Lincoln was a big guy. He was the tallest president we ever had. He was 6'4". And when he put that top hat on, the top of that hat was 8 feet high. So he really wanted to stand out in a crowd. But one of our great presidents, Abraham Lincoln, and his memorial, we salute that today. And up next, this is interesting. This U.S. president was born March 29, 1790. And as soon as I read 1790, that rang a bell with me. He became president in 1841 when William Henry Harrison died after only 31 days in office. He was the first vice president to become president. James K. Polk succeeded him. Now, I know some about this president. He was only president for 4 years. He wasn't even renominated by his party. When he became president, somebody came in and told him he was the president, and he was playing marbles with some of his kids. And he had a lot of kids. Let's go to the next slide, and we'll show you who we're talking about here. This is John Tyler. John Tyler had 15 kids, more than any other president. He got married. He started having kids. He had, I believe, 8 kids, and then his wife passed away. And then he remarried a woman that was half his age. So there was a great difference there. He was in his 60s, and she was, I believe, in her low 30s, something like that. And they had together another 7 kids. Isn't that amazing? So he's got 15 kids. And this is all legit. His first wife died, and then he has more kids. Now, his youngest son did the same thing. His youngest son got married, had a whole bunch of kids. The wife died, and then he got remarried to a woman much younger than him, I think 30 years younger than him. And then he had a bunch more kids, and one of those kids is still alive today. Now, get this. I think his name is Harrison Tyler. Okay, Harrison Tyler is in a nursing home, I believe, somewhere in Tennessee. He is approaching 100 years old. He had a father that was born in 1853. This guy's still alive today. A father that was born in 1853, 8 years before the Civil War started, and a grandfather that was born in 1790. Could you imagine that? Now, this would be a crazy fact, even if he wasn't the president, but being a president made it even stranger. And so this is interesting. That fact, by the way, was dug up by a radio station. A radio station disc jockey just went to Tyler's home and asked if he could interview him. And the guy said, well, okay, sure. And so they started talking, and he found out all of this and then wrote it all up. And of course, it went viral over the internet. But some interesting information about former President John Tyler and his sons and grandsons. March 29th is Vietnam Veterans War Day. On this date in 1973, the United States' formal involvement in the Vietnam War ended, and the last combat troops withdrew. And of course, that was a war that was disputed, and there was a lot of consternation at that period. I lived through it. I was not in the military myself, but I remember the time well, and it was a time of turmoil here in the United States. But with time, we've been able to appreciate those who served in Vietnam, many of whom were drafted, or some of whom were drafted and did not have that choice, and came back, and many of them have gone on to do some great things. So we salute anybody in our blog audience here who is a Vietnam veteran. In fact, all of our veterans. My father, of course, being a veteran. I've mentioned my father before in the Army Air Corps. He was in for about 5 years and was almost career military. He almost stayed in, but came back to Chicago to help take care of his mother. And my Uncle Felix, was the head motorcycle mechanic for Harley and all the other brands of motorcycles, Indian bikes and whatnot in Chicago. And the day after Pearl Harbor, he goes and enlists in the Army. The Brits are looking for people that can fix motorcycles. So, I mean, who's better than my Uncle Felix? So all of a sudden, Felix gets his orders, and he winds up in India for nearly 3 years without coming home. He doesn't see his wife. He doesn't have any kids at that point, but doesn't see his wife. And of course, you'd ask Felix what he did during the war, and he said, well, I learned to ride an elephant. So he could tell you all kinds of stories about being there in the country of India. Loved the country and the Indian people, and not having to shovel snow for 3 Christmases and whatnot. But Another interesting thing about Felix is that he had his wife send over harmonicas. Felix was a great harmonica player, and he would pass out these harmonicas to the natives, the Indians there, and he would teach them how to play all these American songs like "You Are My Sunshine" and Jingle Bells, whatever songs were popular back then in the 1940s. But he wound up mainly fixing motorcycles for 2-3 years in the country of India. So again, we salute the Vietnam War Veterans Day. And look at that. Those are 2 pictures of me relaxing. Whatever happened to that red floppy hat? I'll have to ask Michelle if she can remember that, because that disappeared somewhere. I don't know where, but I don't remember having that. But I have a lot of Wisconsin paraphernalia. I went to school at the University of Wisconsin. I'm loyal to them. I root for them. Also root for Michigan and Michigan State. Picture on the right, I don't remember anybody taking that picture, but it kind of looks like I have bell bottoms on, doesn't it? The pants there. I have a picture of me somewhere doing the weather on TV in striped bell bottoms, and that had to have been about 1975 with hair over my ears. I had my hair down where you could it was the earlobes were covered, and it was down to my back. You got away with that. I also had the mustache. I had a beard for about a year, anything to try and stay warm while I was going to school in Wisconsin. But I shaved that off when I did TV and kept the stash, and that's been a kind of a trademark over the years. I think that's all we've got. Let me take a look there. I want to thank Michelle for putting all of that together before she went to work, and grandson Alex for running the slides here for me from Trussville, Alabama. I hope you have yourself a wonderful day today, a great weekend. And like I said, pay attention because we could be seeing some heavy thunderstorms in the area here Sunday and then again next Wednesday.